back to another Rockford CCG staging area. Today I'm by myself. I'm filming on Monday as of recording. We have a bunch of other stuff planned for the normal staging area guys, so I figured I'd just take this chance just to get this recorded and get it out to you guys as soon as possible. With the PTC season coming up, and just as of recording the 7th, so like 3 or 4 weeks, wanted to give a top 10, top 15 cards that I expect to see played heavily in the meta coming out. I know we have a new set coming out in a couple weeks, but Darkstalkers vs. Street Fighter isn't going to get a lot of time to shine, I guess. So I'm going to dive into this list and kind of go over a couple of the cards. It's in no particular order, so let's get into it right now. First, we got Akuma. We're going to do characters first, so excuse me. I only got 2. One is Akuma, for obvious reasons. He just check hacks, and he has very strong synergy off the evil symbol with Gyro Man stuff, and his own support's very, very good. Him being able to just be able to play stuff out of progressive with face downs like his own attacks, and also he's able to abort his own attacks during the block step, so if he's not going to deal damage, you can just abort the attack and hack your block, and then you don't take any damage, but he's able to set up for bigger attacks with Kongu and some other stuff. But I believe there's also decks off of his other 2 symbols, Order and Void, but right now Evil is leading the pack with him. I just think that he is probably this set's Liu Kang, where he's going to be really easy to build. But I think he's not as easy to pilot, because you're going to have to be able to pick and choose when you flip your attacks to abort them, or even when you're going to flip a card in your card pool to check hack your opponent. Moving on, character number 2, we got Donovan. This character is a box topper, so he doesn't have any real support outside of just Demon Realm Awakening in the set, but being a 29 health, possibly 8 hand size character, well, or more, depending on how many your attacks are blocked in a turn, it's just nuts. If Jiffy Jamper taught us anything, and she was an 820 with no abilities and 1 symbol, just being able to draw more cards than your opponent usually is a plus. He even has another ability where it's twice per turn, commit a foundation. You get to either pump your damage or reduce your opponent's damage. It's only twice per turn, and you have to kind of pick and choose with that when you use that ability. But off of order, when you can use Last of His Kind to pay 2, cut it to 1, excuse me, cut it to 1, and then use his ability to neg the damage even more below 0, to where the factors were, well, I don't have to take anything, or you're just taking 1, or you can partial and draw a card, or you just use his I think Donovan and Ken, who isn't on this list, but they're kind of some of the more open-ended characters. They're not like Akuma is, where he's stuck to having face down. He wants to play cards with face downs in his card pool, but yeah, definitely we have an Order Donovan going around here in Rockford. It's very powerful. He's very good with stun, so look out for that. Also, I believe I haven't tried the Death or All variants yet, but this is a very powerful character just on the fact that, well, you're either going to eat damage or he's going to draw cards, which could lead him into more attacks. We're going to go ahead and cut over to the actions. We're going to go with Demon Realm Awakening is the best action in this set. Being able to basically double up on Donovan's Enhance, where you can reduce or pump damage, and you get to draw a card. So it does replace itself. It does not clog your card pool with either of its abilities. Also, if your opponent's in deadlock, you're able to get another copy of this card into your hand from your discard pile. So you can possibly go up 2 cards for 1 off this card if your opponent's in deadlock. Granted that these symbols don't have much for deadlock effects to begin with, so it's kind of nice. So you could probably surprise your opponent if they outbuild you, and then they just kind of get lulled into this, and then you just play this over and over again with tons of damage or damage redux. Also, the Omni block on throws is really good because you still get to draw a card, and then if you block a throw attack, it deals no damage. So it's a multi-purpose action, which I like to see in out of my actions. I don't want my actions to be too one-sided. Like Bang is a good example where it's a multi-purpose tool. Templar is technically a multi-purpose tool, but it's mostly used as a block. So more often than not, you see the multi-purpose actions played more often. We'll go into attacks. We got Dark Chirito. This card is the best attack in the set. Checks a 3 on a 6 diff, which is nice because we never want to see lower than a 3 on a 6 diff, in my opinion. It has multiple and ranged. Multiple 2 is fantastic on a card, especially with this much damage, because it is 18 damage coming across at you. And the static on this card is what kind of triggers people a bit. While this card's in your card pool, your opponent cannot play abilities that could reduce the damage of your attacks or cause cards to leave your card pool. This card shuts down Spike 2, shuts down Fade. The Deadlock E on this, because you know Earth, Fire, and Good need more Deadlock abilities. If this attack deals damage, multiple copies of this attack are unblockable. So if you know your opponent's playing Dark Chirito, you're probably, if you go into Deadlock, you're always going to hold a low block because you don't want to eat the extra damage that it's unblockable. Also, fun fact, the multiple kicking part of Prepared to Fight doesn't work on this card. So your multiples are safe, which is awesome. So you play this, all your multiples are safe after that. Next, we're going into Flipcat. You really need a deck that can really stuff momentum, but for it to really shine. But just the value it gets is worth playing. If you have 1 momentum, ready a foundation, that's great. So basically, if you check a 3, its card's free. If you have 2 or more momentum at the top card of your deck to momentum, which self-fuels its bottom enhance, which is if you have at least 3 momentum, this attack gets 5 damage. So it's a 4 mid for 8 on a 4 diff with a 3 check, and it has EX3, so you could possibly dump 9 speed into it if you wish. I don't know why, but yeah, you can dump it and it'd be great. But yeah, it's a good value attack. I know Dave Wagner loves this card. Leg Shredder. This is the only non-ultra rare card I have. Leg Shredder's stupid. After you play this card, your opponent commits 1 foundation for each copy of a Leg Shredder in your card pool. That works for attacking and blocking. So if you block with it and you have multiple Leg Shredders, you can make them commit cards. Also, if you happen to remove this card from the game, you get to ready a foundation, so like combos with Explosive Acrobatics if you need to ready stuff. It's a 3 diff, 4 damage, which is pretty awesome. It's a flash, so if you're not running a full flash support, it's kind of lackluster. But just for the value numbers of the 3 and the 4, 3 diff for 4 damage, it's worth playing. +2 high block, I can't complain about that on a 3 diff. Last attack is Thunderbreak. It's a 6/3, which is nice. I always like seeing a 3 on the 6 diffs. So 4 low 5. After this card's been discarded from your hand due to your opponent's effect, draw back up to your printed hand size. So if you're running a discard deck, be ready to have your opponent draw back up to their hand size on you if they have this. That's quite powerful as a static. Then E, your opponent commits the highest ready difficulty foundation in their staging area, which is the errata that got put on, I believe, right after the set came out. If there is a tie, you choose this attack gains stun X. X equals the committed card's printed difficulty. So that means you get to commit 1 card for free with the ability, and then you gain stun X. So that means you're committing more for basically just committing 1 card. Obviously, you get stunned. So you're going to be able to commit their best card, their highest difficulty card, and then give them stun, and then stun them out with like a 3 or a 2. So basically anything that is a stun 2 is really stun 3. Stun 3 is really stun 4 because you're committing the highest cost, the highest difficulty. Moving on to foundations. We got World of Battle. The desperation part may not come into effect that much, but the E flip for +2 speed or -3 speed, so it's like a offensive Fei in a way. On a 2-diff, I can't be too mad at that. This card should see a lot of play, considering that everything pretty much has a keyword ability nowadays. Like I said, the Desperation E probably won't come into play very often unless, like, you're Akuma, or let's say you're fighting against someone who's playing Yin and Yang, or like, Somersault Kick with base, or just in general, Somersault Kick deep build, so that's not too bad. Next, Unlikely Allies. This stops a responsibility on an attack card, so it stops reversals cold. It does net you free speed. If you happen to have Fury on your attack, you get +1 damage for a 5 check, so you get +1/+1. But this card is going to see a lot of play just because it can cancel Rs on attack cards, and there are tons of Rs on attack cards in this set and just in reversals in general. So you don't have to worry. So you can just Skull Barrier, Sprecchio, Dita de Elemento. Those are some big ones right there. But yeah, this card should see a lot of play. Voices in the Dark. Just a good overall spam that can get rid of momentum. So if you're a momentum-based deck, you're going to want to watch out for this. You either want to get him to flip this card or destroy it or commit it, so your momentum isn't shuffled back in. Also, they can flip another foundation to get -1 damage. So it's something you're going to want to look out for, especially on a spam card. A 2-diff, his Gift of Immortal Blood. Discard a momentum for -5 speed, only playable if your opponent has at least 1 momentum. This also fuels itself, so they can E-commit, shove an attack, shove a Punch and Judy, just shove anything into your momentum, and then they can discard 1 of their momentum for -5 speed. So if you're a deck that's going to rely on using high speed numbers to push your attacks through, this is something you're going to want to look out for. You're going to be wary of your momentum count, just because if they have this on board and you have momentum and they have momentum, the -5 speed is always going to be active. So you're going to want to watch out for that. Dreaming of Becoming Whole, another great spam card from this set. E discard 1 momentum. The next check to play an attack gets +1, playable while committed. R once per turn after you discard any number of momentum, ready this foundation, playable while committed. So if you happen to get stunned out, or if you stun your opponent and they have this, and they have momentum, they can discard it to ready it, and then if they're having to play reversals, they're going to get +1 to their check to play a reversal. So you just got to be careful and wary of that. It's going to see a lot of play. This card's fantastic. It's one of my favorites. Speaking with Leg Shredder, the Flash lineup really got a boost out of this set. The best Flash foundation probably, well, out of the next card, because there's 2 of them. There's this and Showtime. This is one of the greats. R-Commit, discard your hand. After an attack is played, add 1 Flash attack from your discard pile to your hand. So if your opponent has this on board and they have no hand and they have Flash attacks in their discard pile, they're probably going to get the block they need to block the attack to live. So you're going to want to be careful with that. Especially if they have ready effects, so they can ready this and then discard their non-existent hand to pick up an attack to block with. Also, if it's their turn and they have death and they're able to have no cards in hand, they can flip, draw a card, gain 2. It's also playable while committed. My second favorite foundation in the set, Showtime. This really is just a beating. You don't even need to play a Flash lineup, even though the top ability is very good. It's like Securing His Destiny on a stick once per turn. So you're probably going to want to play a couple Flash attacks just to fuel that top ability. Like Leg Shredder, like if you're playing those symbols, you might as well just dump a couple Leg Shredder in and then have Showtime active at all times. But the bottom ability is really where it shines. After you play an attack, it's +3 damage. That's it. You just get 3 free damage, and then if your opponent's at deadlock, you get 3 speed as well. So if they're at deadlock, you get +3/+3, and this, like on a Fallen Angels, where it ends up being 9 damage just for playing it, and unblockable, by the way. So this really is going to see a lot of play just because of that +3 damage. And, of course, the reusable Securing Destiny. You can't go wrong with that. Now, my favorite card, actually in the entire set, Confronting Jeddah. This card is nuts. Just the theory crafting that's going around this card with Alpha Male and reusing Confronting Jeddah over and over again on the same attack after pumping all the speed. I have it in my Akuma deck after I use Enlightened by Defeat to get +1/+1 multiple times of all the face downs. So I've had 8 face downs, and I've had 2 Enlightened. I've had like 16 speed on my +16 speed on my Kongu, and then I use this and I get +16 more damage. It also works in reverse. So if your opponent's playing Akuma, or if they're playing a really fast deck, and you can damage redux them down, so you can take less damage without blocking. So that will end this video. This is basically just a quick rundown of the top 10, top 15 cards I think are going to see a lot of play out of the set. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Tell me if I'm wrong, if my reasoning's wrong, or how bad I did at this video. I'm trying to do it in a different format, so we're going to check this out, see how it goes. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Check out our Patreon link in the description box below. If you feel like donating to help us out, that'd be great. We need a new tripod because the old one's breaking, so we kind of need that. So I'd appreciate any help you can. And again, thank you again, and have a good night.